안녕하세요. You are going to learn how to make negative questions and how to answer them in Korean in this video. Let's go! You must be able to make a negative question based on what you've learned in Lesson 4, Part 4. You just need to know how to turn the verb or the adjective into a negative form. But we're gonna learn something new on this page. Let's see the English sentence first. Isn't this 삼겹살? Or is this not 삼겹살? What is 삼겹살, by the way? 삼겹살 is the pork belly, especially for Korean BBQ. If you go to Korea, you will see many pork belly BBQ restaurants anywhere. The first sentence, isn't this 삼겹살, is the contracted negative question. And the second one, is this not 삼겹살, is the uncontracted negative question in English. It doesn't really matter what they are called in English grammar though. It is said that, in English, negative questions can be used to ask for confirmation of a positive belief or a negative belief, but it rather depends on the context or the situation than the sentence itself. But in Korean, there is a special ending that is used to ask for confirmation of a negative belief. Let's learn about that on this page. You already know what declarative sentence is the basis of this question, isn't this 삼겹살, don't you? Yes, this is 삼겹살, which is in the English pattern number 3. Something or someone is something. The subject equals the complement. What is the basic form of the predicate we use for this type of sentence? Yes, 이다, 이다. It's a postposition predicate in Korean grammar, by the way. The stem of this predicate is 이. Since the vowel 이 is a neutral vowel, we should add 어 sound to use the honorific suffix 요. 이 plus 어요. It becomes 이어요. 이어요. Why? Strange? Yes, I know. We've been using 이에요 so far with 에 sound, but 이어요 is also correct grammatically. However, most of the native Koreans use 이에요 or 예요 far much more commonly in a real-life conversation. So it, without a doubt, is totally okay to just remember 이에요 and 예요. But if you have enough time, it's no harm to remember 이 plus 어요, 이어요, and 여요, which is used when there is no final consonant in the form of law. It's based on the regular conjugation rule, so you don't need to put extra effort to remember them. You might think there are too many exceptions in Korean, but there have been only 2, including this one. The first one was 쉬어요 and 세요 thing that we use to make a higher respect form of a verb or an adjective. 세요 is also correct, while 쉬어요 is the one that conjugated based on the principle. There's more. You might think of 어때요, which was used to ask whether something was successful or enjoyable. But 어때요 was conjugated based on the rule actually. Well, anyway, let's move on. What is the negative form of the predicate 이다? We learned about this in Lesson 4, Part 4, but we didn't explain how it became like this. The basic form of the negative form of 이다 is 아니다, 아니다. 이다, 이에요, 예요 work like a be verb when they are used to say the subject is a complement. Therefore, the negative form 아니다 works like be not when it is used to say the subject is not a complement. 아니다 comes from the negative adverb 안, which works like the English negative adverb not, plus 이다. 안 plus 이다. 아니다. And then the final 느 consonant of 안 goes up to 이응, the empty consonant in the next block, and it becomes a one word 아니다. Then how we add the honorific suffix 요? The stem of 아니다 must be 아니. Since the vowel of the last letter of the stem, ni, has E vowel, which is a neutral vowel, we should add 어요 according to the principle. 아니어요, 아니어요. But in lesson 4, part 4, we used 아니에요 with 에 sound and told you that it means be not. And it's from 안 plus 이에요. Yes, that's true. The difference is in lesson 4, part 4, we turned 이다 part into 이에요 first and then add 안, which means not. 안 plus 이에요. That's how it became 아니에요, right? But this time we turn the basic form into the negative form 아니다 first and then add 어요 to the stem 아니. That's the difference. So 아니어요, which is made based on the conjugation rule, is correct too. So both 아니어요 and 아니에요 are correct. But about 95% out of the time, native Koreans will use 아니에요 with 에 sound. So let's keep using 아니에요 with 에 sound. Yeah, it seems like Koreans prefer 에 sound to sound. Let's rearrange the words then. It's simple. The subject, this, comes first, and then the complement, 삼겹살, comes next, and then the be verb plus not comes because it is going to be the predicative part that ends the sentence. Let's take a look at the subject, this, first. The direct translation of the pronoun this is 이것, 이것. But we don't really use the direct translation 이것 in a real-life conversation as we learned. We learned about the colloquial form of the pronoun it, this, and that in lesson 5, part 4. 이거. 이거 is the colloquial form of the pronoun this, without any particle attached. We should remember this one, 이거, because you can use it anywhere in the sentence. Yes, you can use 이건 or 이게 too, but it will change the nuance of the sentence. So like we said, if you're not sure, just get rid of the subject particle or the auxiliary particle, as well as an object particle from the sentence. Most of the time, it will make sense without them. Therefore, let's use 이거, 이거. 삼겹살 is just 삼겹살. We told you that this predicate 이다, 이에요, 예요, and 아니다, 아니에요 are the special postposition predicates so that the complement can take the subject particle 이 or 가 or auxiliary particle 은 or 는. Whew, there are too many things to learn on this page. We actually learned something about this in lesson 4, part 4. Okay, let's learn about all these on the next page again. We're just gonna use 삼겹살 without any particle this time. So just 삼겹살 is fine. Actually, it sounds better without any particle. It's not. Yes, we are going to use the predicate 아니에요. We use 아니에요 when we want to say something or someone is not something. But when you use it in a question sentence, it doesn't necessarily have a negative meaning as an English negative question doesn't. Yes, most of the time, it sounds like asking for confirmation of a positive belief. It's not a rule, but it sounds like it. Just remember that. Please don't forget to make a rising sound since this is a question. 아니에요? 아니에요? 이거 삼겹살 아니에요? 이거 삼겹살 아니에요? Isn't this 삼겹살? Perfect. You can put any noun in the position of 삼겹살 and make up millions of questions like this. Then let's see the second Korean sentence together. 이거 삼겹살 아니지요? 이거 삼겹살 아니지요? What is 아니지요? This is the important part. Please listen carefully. Let's see how it's made first. We know that 아니 is the stem of 아니다, and 요 is an honorific suffix. then what is this 지 sound? This 지 sound is used to have the nuance of asking a question to check whether what the speaker has just said is correct. Difficult? So it's not just asking, but it's asking for confirmation of what I have just said. So when this 지 sound is used in a positive question, it sounds like asking for a positive confirmation. And when it's used in a negative question, it sounds like asking for a negative confirmation. So when the speaker asks a question in a negative form with 지 sound, the speaker is asking for confirmation of a negative belief. And when the speaker asks a question in a positive form with 지 sound, the speaker is asking for confirmation of a positive belief. Interesting, isn't it? So, 이거 삼겹살 아니에요? Sounds like the speaker wants to say that this must be 삼겹살, right? And 이거 삼겹살 아니지요? Sounds like the speaker wants to say that it doesn't look like 삼겹살. Do you understand the difference? Okay, very good. 이거 삼겹살 아니에요? Isn't this 삼겹살? 이거 삼겹살 아니지요? This must not be 삼겹살. With the same sentence we learned in the previous page, let's see how the nuance changes as we add the auxiliary particle 는 or the subject particle 이, 가. I gotta tell you that it might be still unclear even after studying this page, but we'll do our best. Let's check out the table. We keep saying that the auxiliary particle 은 or 는 is used to indicate the topic of the sentence or to give the nuance of comparing or contrasting to the sentence. Then which one is the main usage? Actually, these two usages are closely related to each other. In lesson 4 part 2, we told you that you use the particle 은 or 는 when you want to mention about something which is mentioned previously in a conversation. Because of the fact that the particle 은 or 는 can be used to change or indicate the topic or the subject, it can also give the sentence the nuance of comparing or contrasting. Do you understand what it means? It means you can use the auxiliary particle to shift the topic or the subject that you and the listener already know, and it gives the nuance of comparing and contrasting. Because you change the topic or the subject. But that doesn't necessarily mean there must actually be something to compare with in front of your eyes or in the previous conversation. It can be in your mind or somewhere else. For example, you and I meet somewhere in Seoul, Korea. I knew you were going to come with another friend, but you came alone. If I say, your friend, it would mean, where is your friend? Friend is 친구 in Korean, right? 친구는? I just say 친구 plus the auxiliary particle 는 and a question mark, but it means you are here, but where's your friend? 친구는? Your friend? Do you understand the nuance of comparing and contrasting? Okay, great. A topic of a sentence can be different from a subject of a sentence in Korean. Just nod your head twice and move on. For now, you just need to remember the usages that we mentioned in lesson 4 part 2. How about the subject particle 이 or 가? The subject particle 이 or 가 is used to emphasize the subject when we want to say it is the subject who do verb or be adjective. Plus, Korean grammar say that normally when the subject is mentioned for the first time, the subject particle 이 or 가 should be used. You already learned all about this in the previous lessons. On one hand, it's quite difficult to understand the usages of each particle, but on the other hand, it's quite simple. You just need to remember that the auxiliary particle 은 or 는 has kind of the nuance of comparing or contrasting, and the subject particle 이 or 가 has kind of the nuance of emphasizing the subject. And 아니에요 can give the nuance of asking for confirmation of either a positive belief or a negative belief. But most of the time, it gives a nuance of asking for confirmation of a positive belief. And 아니지요 gives the nuance of asking for confirmation of a negative belief. All of a sudden it got easier. No? Okay. Let's take a look at the examples one by one together. The English translation of all these sentences is the same sentence. Isn't this 삼겹살? We are going to check out how the nuance or meaning is changed with a different particle and predicate. Let's take a look at the first sentence. 이건 삼겹살 아니에요? First of all, we use the predicate 아니에요. So let's say we're gonna ask for confirmation of a positive belief. You can say that 이건 is colloquial form of 이것은 with the auxiliary particle. Or you can say that 이건 is 이거 plus 는. In this case, the subject is the pronoun this. Therefore, probably you are thinking about other things you can indicate using other pronouns, such as that or it in your mind. Okay? There is no particle added to the complement 삼겹살. Therefore, no nuance is added to the complement 삼겹살. But we used the auxiliary particle to the subject, so it might give the subject a nuance of comparing. Again, it might give the nuance of comparing only to the subject. 이건 삼겹살 아니에요? It sounds like there is another loaf of meat in front of you, and you say, that one over there must be beef. This one, isn't this 삼겹살? 이건 삼겹살 아니에요? Sorry about the bad acting. It sounds like you point at right this one, while there are other kinds of meat that you can point at using another this or that on the shelf and ask if it's 삼겹살. But even though there's nothing to indicate other than the one you point at, you can still use 이건 with the auxiliary particle 은 or 는. But the sentence will still have the nuance of comparing. Now you understand the nuance a little bit? Okay. Let's see the next one. 이게 삼겹살 아니에요? 이게 is the colloquial and shortened form of 이것, with the subject particle 이. When did we say we used the subject particle 이 or 가? Yes, right. When you want to emphasize the subject or when you mention the subject for the first time in a conversation. So you can say that it doesn't really add a strong nuance, but can't get rid of the nuance of emphasizing. By the way, you don't understand what we mean by emphasizing. We know. Try to think it this way. When you ask about the subject or mention about something for the first time in the sentence, you tend to put more stress on it. Don't you think so? So, 이게 삼겹살 아니에요? 이게 삼겹살 아니에요? Sounds like, isn't this meat right in front of you? 삼겹살? Emphasizing the subject, this meat. Isn't this meat right in front of you? 삼겹살? 이게 삼겹살 아니에요? Do you understand the nuance? A little bit? Difficult? That's fine. We understand. Keep practicing with us. Then let's get rid of the particle from the subject, this, 이거, and add the auxiliary particle, 은, 는, or the subject particle, 이, 가, to the complement, 삼겹살, and see how the nuance changes. Yes, of course you can add a particle to both the subject, this, and the complement, 삼겹살. But we don't have to make it too difficult. Let's just play with 삼겹살 this time. We learned how come we can add a subject or auxiliary particle to a complement or an object in Lesson 4 Part 3 and Part 4. Let's not talk about it again. It will take too much time. Anyway, yes, you can add a particle 은, 는, 이, 가. Actually, 은 and 이 to 삼겹살. since the last letter of 삼겹살 has the final consonant. In the original English question, isn't this 삼겹살? The pronoun this is a subject and 삼겹살 is a complement. But in a Korean sentence, the pronoun this is more like a topic of the sentence. Again, the pronoun this is the thing which is used to indicate the topic of the sentence or to let the listener know that I am now talking about this. And 삼겹살 can be the actual subject of the sentence in Korean. And 아니다, which is an adjective that ends the sentence, directly explains the complement 삼겹살, not the subject, this. It doesn't make sense in English, but I am now talking about Korean. Please don't mix up. That's why we said the complement 삼겹살 can also be the subject of the sentence. And we can add the auxiliary particle 은 or the subject particle 이 to the complement 삼겹살. We explained why we can add a particle to 삼겹살 briefly anyway. Then let's see how it changes the nuance of the sentence. Let's add the auxiliary particle 은 to 삼겹살 first. 이거 삼겹살은 아니에요? 이거 삼겹살은 아니에요? The English translation is still, isn't this 삼겹살? We impose the nuance of comparing on 삼겹살. So it sounds like, is this not 삼겹살? Then is this something else? 이거 삼겹살은 아니에요? Is this something else? It sounds like there is something to compare with the 삼겹살, such as other parts of the pork or another kind of meat. Now you're getting it, right? Let's see the next sentence. 이거 삼겹살은 아니지요? We used 아니지요 with the G sound this time instead of 아니에요. Of course, it sounds like asking for confirmation of a negative belief, as we learned. So, this sentence sounds like you are saying it shouldn't be 삼겹살, but something else. Remember, we added but something else part. Because of the auxiliary particle 은, it sounds like you are thinking about something else. This particle 은 goes more with 아니지요. Because the nuance of contrasting that 은 or 는 has reinforces the meaning of 아니지요. Plus, this one sounds very useful. 이거 삼겹살은 아니지요? Remember this one at least. We didn't add 이거 삼겹살이 아니에요 with the subject particle 이 to 삼겹살. Not just because of lack of the space, but also because of the fact that it sounds similar to the original sentence without any particle. 이거 삼겹살 아니에요? 이거 삼겹살이 아니에요? 이거 삼겹살 아니에요? 이거 삼겹살이 아니에요? Plus it sounds a little bit weird. 이거 삼겹살이 아니에요? Not because it's grammatically wrong, but because Koreans don't talk like this that much. Let's skip it. Let's add a subject particle 이 to 삼겹살 and use 아니지요. 이거 삼겹살이 아니지요? 이거 삼겹살이 아니지요? Needless to say, it sounds like you want to get the confirmation of a negative belief because of the predicate 아니지요. And because of the fact that you emphasize 삼겹살 with a subject particle 이, it sounds like you are almost sure this is not 삼겹살. Now you understand a little bit about the meaning of emphasizing. It depends on the context though. Let's see the next one. 이게 삼겹살은 아니지요? 이게 삼겹살은 아니지요? We use the particle for both the subject this and the complement 삼겹살. Guess how it sounds like yourself and send us an email. Just remember emphasizing and comparing. We never said you must add a particle to the subject this or the complement 삼겹살. You have all the rights not to do that, as we didn't in the previous page. It's your choice. We know it's very, very hard to understand for now, so if you don't understand our explanation here at all, just forget about it and remember the one without any particle. It's totally fine. If you still want to go further, you add a particle to the subject first whenever you want to change the nuance. After you totally understand the nuance of a subject with a particle, and then you move on to the complement with a particle. Okay? Let's keep practicing together anyway. Let's make a general negative yes-no question. We already learned about this in lesson 4, part 4. Therefore, nothing is new about this. You just need to add a question mark at the end and make a rising sound with the last letter of the sentence. That's it. Let's see the English sentence then. Aren't you hungry? Are you not hungry? The subject you must come first, and then not hungry or hungry not will come at the end of the sentence. It's a simple sentence. There's nothing difficult about it. Hungry is an adjective in Korean too. The basic form is 배고프다. 배고프다. 배 itself is a noun which means a belly or a stomach. 고프다 itself means to be hungry. But you don't really use 고프다 alone in Korean. You always add 배, which means a stomach, when you say hungry. So you can say that in Korean, it is not you who's hungry, but your stomach is. So you can say that your stomach is hungry in Korean too. Let's talk about this later again on this page. How do you make a normal negative sentence in Korean? Yes, we put the negative adverb an before a verb or an adjective, or add 지 않아요 to the stem of a verb or an adjective. Then let's add the honorific suffix 요 to the adjective 배고프다. 배고프다. You might wonder why we are trying to explain this kind of easy stuff. It's because there is an exception in it. Listen carefully. The stem of the adjective 배고프다, which means to be hungry, is 배고프. 배고프. Since the last letter of the stem p has a neutral vowel we want to add 어요 sound. But in a Korean grammar book, with no particular reason, it says we should add 아요 sound to this particular adjective. Why? Well, in a Korean grammar book, they say it sounds 아요 because we say 아요 when we speak, which is barely a reason. You know what it means? It means that Korean people have been saying 배고파요 with the 아요 sound since forever, and can't just change it all of a sudden because of the conjugation rule. So it's an exception. Anyway, there are a few more verbs and adjectives like this in Korean, but you don't have to know them now. Just remember that you should add 아요 sound to the adjective hungry, 배고프다, instead of 어요 sound. It's an exception. So 배고프 plus 아요, 배고프아요. But since there is no final consonant with the last letter of the stem p sound, we should combine p and a sound. But we know there is no compound vowel which sounds 으아. So this sound of p has gone and only a sound survives. Or you can think that a sound is stronger than sound. So a sound observe the sound regarding the fact that there is no compound vowel which sounds 으아. They had to choose one sound between sound and a sound. Since a sound is the most basic vowel sound, it observes the vowel sound. So p consonant in the formal block combines with the a sound in the letter block, and it becomes pa sound. So it becomes 배고파요 rather than 배고프아요. 배고파요. 배고파요. Okay? But even though you forget that it's an exception and say 배고프어요 even with the ending 어요, native Koreans would understand what it means. So we can guess that ayo or oyo sound doesn't really seem to affect the meaning itself. You might think that there are too many exceptions in Korean, but think about English. How many irregular conjugations of verbs in English? Maybe about 180? We don't know for sure, but there are many. How did you study the irregular conjugation in English then? Yes, that's right. There's no good way. We should just memorize them all. Same thing applies here. Okay, then let's make a negative yes-no question in Korean. You. We don't need this. Not hungry. 안 배고파요? 안 배고파요? Or hungry not? 배고프지 않아요? 배고프지 않아요? 배고프지 않아요? Perfect. But there's one more. As we told you earlier on this page, the adjective 배고프다 is 배 plus 고프다. And you can say that your stomach is hungry in Korean. You learned something like this before when you learned about the verb to dance. 춤추다. 춤추다. 춤 is a noun which means a dance. And 추다 itself has the meaning of a verb to dance. So you can split 춤 from 추다. Remember? But the difference is we split 춤 from 추다 and used it as an object because 추다 was a verb. But 배고프다 is an adjective. So 배 cannot be an object. Instead, it can be a subject. So 배가 with the subject particle 가. 배가 고프다 is correct sentence too, which means your stomach is hungry. Too difficult? It's not, right? We know you've already reached that level. Okay, anyway, you can split 배 from the adjective 배고프다. Just remember that. And you can put the negative adverb 안 between 배, stomach, and 고프다. So the first sentence was 안 배고파요? But it can be 배 안 고파요? too. 배 안 고파요? Okay? Very good. Then let's make a higher respect form. Let's turn the first sentence 안 배고파요 into a higher respect form. It looks simple because we just need to turn the adjective 배고파요 into the higher respect form. The basic form of the higher respect form of 배고프다 is 배고프시다. 배고프시다. The stem is 배고프시. Since the last letter of the stem is 시, we should add 어요 sound. No exception applies here. So 배고프시어요 becomes 배고프셔요, 배고프셔요. And you know we can use 배고프세요 too with a 세 sound. So 안 배고프세요? 안 배고프세요? Very good. Then let's turn the sentence 배고프지 않아요 into a higher respect form. This one looks a bit complicated because it looks like there are two predicates here. 배고프 and 않아요. We need to turn this 않아요 part into a higher respect form. 않아요 itself originally means not do in Korean. It is a verb and the basic form of it is 않다. 않다. It is written 않다, but it is pronounced 않다. We learned that the final h consonant is actually a silence, but an initial d consonant turns into t sound when there is h consonant in the final of the formal block. We learned about this in lesson 4 part 4. That's why 안다 is read 안타. Please do not say you've never heard of this before. Okay, anyway, we don't use the basic form. And the higher respect form is 않으시다. 않으시다. Be careful, it's not 안시다. So it's kind of an exception too. Too many exceptions? Sorry about that. The stem of 안으시다 is 안으시. And we need to add 어요 sound. And then 않으시, 어요 becomes 않으셔요 or 않으세요. So 배고프지 않으세요? 배고프지 않으세요? is a higher respect form of the sentence 배고프지 않아요? But sometimes native Koreans turn the 배고프지 part into the higher respect form to sound even more polite, like 배고프시지 않으세요? Well, it's okay in spoken Korean, but we don't recommend this because there is a risk of sounding over-respectful. Korean grammar actually bans double higher respect form. So, 배고프지 않으세요 is enough. Then it's easy to turn the sentence 배 안 고파요 into a higher respect form. Yes, 배 안 고프세요? 배 안 고프세요? Aren't you hungry? Perfect. We learned a lot of things on this page. Let's learn how to ask for confirmation of a negative belief with a negative yes-no question using 지요. We've learned about the ending 지요 a couple of pages before. Yes, you're right. This ending 지요 is not just used for a question with to be, 이에요, or to be not, 아니에요. It's even used for a positive yes-no question. This 지 sound is used to have the nuance of asking whether what the speaker has just said is correct. So, it's not just asking, but it's asking for confirmation of what you've just said is correct. So, when this 지 sound is used in a positive question, it sounds like asking for positive confirmation. And when it's used in a negative question, it sounds like asking for a negative confirmation. Again, when the speaker asks a question in a negative form with the ending 지요, the speaker is asking for confirmation of a negative belief. And when the speaker asks a question in a positive form with the ending 지요, the speaker is asked for confirmation of a positive belief. Are we repeating the same thing over and over again? It's for your sake. Let's build a firm fundamental at level 1 together. Okay then, let's take a look at the English sentence. Aren't you tired? Or, are you not tired? You can forget about the concept of past participle or passive form in Korean. For example, in English, when someone is tired, you use the past participle to be tired. And when something is tiring, you use the present participle to be tiring. But there is no such concept in Korean. As you know, Korean adjectives work like a verb when they are used as a predicate. Therefore, to be tired is going to be just one word predicate in Korean. The translation of the adjective to be tired or to be exhausted or to be knackered, for those who speak British English, is 피곤하다. 피곤하다 in Korean. It looks like a noun plus 하다 verb, but it's actually a noun plus 하다 adjective, even though it has 하다 part. We've seen a few a noun plus 하다 verbs so far. Then this might be the first time for you to see a noun plus 하다 adjective. Amazing, isn't it? Not so? Okay. Anyway, you can forget about the concept of the past participle in Korean. You can just use 피곤하다. 피곤하다. The sentence structure is going to be simply you not tired or tired not. Not tired. Yes, we use the negative adverb 안 and then the stem 피곤하 plus 지요. 피곤하지요. 안 피곤하지요. 안 피곤하지요. It sounds like you must not be tired, are you? Or I know you are not tired, right? Sounds like asking for confirmation of what I've just said is correct, okay? This time, we can shorten this 지요 part to one letter. Let's combine the sound of 지 and 요 and make it one letter. 지요, 지요, 죠, 조. It becomes 조 sound with 요 vowel. So 안 피곤하죠? 안 피곤하죠? With 조 sound is also correct. Too many things to remember? Then just use 안 피곤하지요. That's totally fine. Because as you become more fluent and speak faster, 지요 will become one sound, 조, anyway. Yes, it will happen, believe me. Tired not. It was originally 피곤하지 않아요? 피곤하지 않아요? Let's make it sound like asking for confirmation of a negative belief. Let's swap 아요 with 지요. 피곤하지 않지요. 피곤하지 않지요. But this 지 sound turns into 치 sound because of the 흐 consonant in the final of the former block. You know why? Yes, we learned about this in lesson 4, part 4. So it actually sounds 피곤하지 않지요. 피곤하지 않지요. With the 치 sound. Yes, it sounds like I know you are not tired, right? This 않지요 part can be shortened to 않죠. 않죠. Yes, it is written 안조, but it actually sounds 않죠. 안초 because of the final consonant 흐 in the formal block. We don't think you need further explanation about the higher respect form. Please take a look at it yourself. Just add 지요 at the end. Let's go to the next page. Let's see how to answer to positive and negative yes-no question in Korean. In English, it is very simple because we say yes when the following sentence is a positive and we say no when the following sentence is negative, no matter whether the question was negative or positive. But in Korean, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Maybe it would be hard for you to understand if you think the way you answer in English is logical. But we can explain the way how Koreans answer in a logical way too. Please listen carefully. Just remember this one thing. In Korean, yes means yes, what you've just said is correct. And no means no, what you've just said is wrong. Again, in Korean, yes means yes, the entire sentence you've just said is correct. And no means no, the entire sentence you've just said is wrong. We are repeating this because if you understand this, you already understand 95% of this page. Let's learn more specifically. When the question is positive, it's simple. It's the same as English. Yes means yes and no means no. If the question is, are you hungry? Yes means yes, I am hungry. And no means no, I am not hungry. But it actually means, yes, you are right. I am hungry. And no, you are wrong. I am not hungry in Korean. By the way, you know how to say yes and no in a Korean honorific sentence, don't you? Yes is 네, 네, or 예, 예, like yes. In my personal opinion, 네 sounds more casual and 예 sounds a little bit more polite. No is 아니요, 아니요. It's from the Korean adjective 아니다, which means to be not, that we learned a couple of pages before. But 아니요 is not an adjective nor conjugated from the adjective 아니다. So just memorize the entire 아니요 itself, okay? Anyway, if someone asks, are you hungry? 배고파요? 배고파요? You can answer, yes, I am hungry. 네, 배고파요. Or, no, I am not hungry. 아니요, 배 안 고파요. Okay? 아니요, 안 배고파요. Or 아니요, 배고프지 않아요 would be fine too. Okay, then how to answer to a negative question? It's a bit complicated. Please listen carefully. In Korean, yes, which is 네, or 예, means yes, what you've just said is correct, no matter whether the question was in a positive form or a negative form. So, needless to say, no, 아니요, means what you've just said is wrong, no matter whether the original question was positive or negative. Do you understand? So it's the matter of correct or wrong, not the matter of yes or no. We can say that in English, when you answer to either a negative or a positive question, the answer is self-oriented. You talk about yourself. For example, yes, I am hungry, or no, I am not hungry. But in Korean, when you answer to either a negative or a positive question, the answer is listener-oriented. You talk whether what the listener has just said was correct or not. For example, yes, you are right, I am not hungry. Or no, you are wrong, I am hungry. We believe that now you almost perfectly understand this. The sentence, aren't you hungry, already contains the negative adverb, not, 안. So if you ask the question, aren't you hungry? 배 안 고파요? Koreans might answer, yes, you are correct, I am not hungry. Or, no, you are wrong, I am hungry. So you can say that Koreans answer in an opposite way when it comes to a negative question. But there is something strange as always. When you are 100% sure, the speaker wants to get confirmation of a positive belief, so that it was almost the same as asking, are you hungry? You can answer, yes, I am hungry, or no, I am not hungry, as you do in English, even though the original question was a negative question. Then let's see how to answer to the question using the ending 지요. It's quite clear. 배 안 고프지요? 배 안 고프지요? The English translation of this sentence would be the same, aren't you hungry? Or, you are not hungry, are you? Which means almost the same as, I know you are not hungry, right? This question is asking for confirmation whether what I've just said is correct or not. So, yes means, yes, you are right, I am not hungry. And no means, no, you are wrong, I am hungry. It perfectly fits the logic we are talking about here. We use 네 or 아니요 in Korean to mean the entire sentence you said was correct or not. If the sentence is correct, you say 네 or 예. Otherwise, you say 아니요. So, 배 안 고프지요 means, I know you are not hungry, right? So you can answer, yes, you are correct. I am not hungry. 네, 배 안 고파요. Yes, I am not hungry. And no, you're wrong. I'm hungry. 아니요, 배 고파요. No exception for this case, okay? Very confusing, isn't it? So just remember these two things. First, in Korean, the answer yes, 네 or 예 means, yes, you're right. Yes, the entire sentence you've just said is correct. Therefore, when it's a negative question, 네 or 예 means you are positive to a negative meaning. So you use 네 or 예 with a negative answer to a negative question. Remember that. Second, since it's a bit hard for you to fully understand this, please make a full sentence all the time. For example, yes, I am not hungry. Or, no, I am hungry. Whether the answer is yes or no, you better say the rest of the sentence so that there will be no miscommunication. Very good. Let's see how to make a negative WH question then. It's nothing, right? Let's get through this quick. The first sentence is, why didn't you come to the party last time? The interrogative why is used here. let's reposition the words first. The subject you comes first, and then the interrogative why comes right after the subject you, as we learned in lesson 5 part 4. And then the time-related word last time comes next. And then the destination to the party, which is directly related to the verb, comes next. And then the negative adverb not comes. And then the verb came in the past tense comes at the end of the sentence. Now it's not that strange for you to see the words in this order, right? So, you, why, last time, to the party, not come, and a question mark. Why is where, last time, 지난번, Yes, you can use the particle 에, which indicates a certain point in time. 지난번에, to the party. Party is just party. Yes, you can add a particle 에 to party because the preposition to indicates the destination in this sentence. 파티에. Not, 안, came. It's in the past tense. 왔어요. It's a question. 왜 지난번에 파티에 안 왔어요? 왜 지난번에 파티에 안 왔어요? It's too easy. What is the higher respect form of the sentence? Let's just turn the verb come into a higher respect form. 왜 지난번에 파티에 안 오셨어요? 왜 지난번에 파티에 안 오셨어요? Perfect. Can you make a negative WH question using 지 않아요? Please try it yourself. It's a homework. I'll let you hear the sound of the sentence though. 왜 지난번에 파티에 오지 않았어요? 왜 지난번에 파티에 오지 않았어요? It's in the past tense. The higher respect form is 왜 지난번에 파티에 오지 않으셨어요? 왜 지난번에 파티에 오지 않으셨어요? You need to turn the 지 않아요 part into a higher respect form. The basic form of 않아요 is 않다, which means to be not. And the basic form of the higher respect form is 않으시다. You learned all about this already. You miss our over-explanation, right? Okay, let's take a look at the next example. What food do you not eat? It's also nothing. Let's rearrange the words first. The subject you comes first, and then the what food comes because it's an object, plus what and food should always stick together. And then the negative adverb not comes, and then the verb eat comes. You, what food? Not, eat. What food? What is 무슨? Food is 음식. 무슨 음식? Not, 안, eat. 먹어요? 무슨 음식 안 먹어요? Yes, you can add a object particle 을. 무슨 음식을 안 먹어요? The higher respect form of the verb eat is 드시다. 무슨 음식을 안 드셔요? 무슨 음식 안 드셔요? Or 무슨 음식 안 드세요? With the 세 sound, which is more commonly used. 무슨 음식 안 드세요? 무슨 음식을 안 드세요? Do you feel it's getting comfortable with the Korean language? Very good. This is the end of YouTube Lesson 5, Part 13. You will learn how to ask about the degree and the quantity in the next video. 그럼 다음 비디오에서 만나요. 안녕히 계세요.